on the heels of one heck of a Dynamite last night, Jim.
Yeah, it was. I've been consuming a tremendous amount of product. I go on these rabbit hole searches, I guess. Tuesday night, I think I watched 5 hours of wrestling on Vice, and that was an interesting experience. A lot of things you could talk about on that show. Some great memories and some not so great. So I started my week off with those 5 hours, and those guys do a good job with uh, the documentary style things. There's just so much data you got to acquire, accumulate, and embrace. It's hard, really hard. So I did that, and then last night on Wednesday night, I watched Dynamite. I thought it was a hell of a show.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the thing, one thing too that's kind of cool is how, and I don't know what the reason is. It may just be people that's pushing buttons and so forth. I don't know, but uh, the show looks cleaner. It looks slicker. The production values have increased
Yes.
noticeably. The graphics area is really good. It's just outstanding.
Can I ask
But
you about something I saw last night?
sure,
I saw for the first time, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen this before. When Renee was standing sort of ringside with the entrance behind her after Okada was already in the ring and Eddie Kingston was coming out, his music is playing like always and all that. And she's talking over it and through it. And that's just sort of happening in the background. It felt like an NFL sideline reporter. And I thought it was really awesome. It made me sit up and pay more attention because it was so different. It had a real sports feel and I loved it. Did you
yeah,
catch that?
yeah, I sure did. Pardon me, I sure did, and I liked it. It's a nice little element to add to the show. So somebody had a real good idea there. I think I'm with you,
Mhm.
Conrad. It got my attention. It helped my attention, and it kept me tuned in. Uh, It's funny how Tony's vision of what the order of matches. I think the second week in a row we had Mercedes Monet open the show, if I'm not mistaken, and it's obvious she's got a lot of fire as a
Oh, yeah.
in ring wrestler. She makes one of the great comebacks, and very electric and very excitable. So I thought that was interesting how to start the show. You can tell they have high hopes for the young lady, and she's very talented. Uh, so then rolling into the Okada match, that was much anticipated. He's a hell of a hand. I called Wrestle Kingdom. What was it? What Wrestle Kingdom was it I was at? But anyway, I did commentary at Wrestle Kingdom, and he worked on that show. And I thought he and uh, uh, oh God, the other,
Shinsuke Nakamura.
yeah, Shinsuke. I thought they were the two best wrestlers on the card by far. And I remember talking to Triple H and said, "Man, you need to get all over this Nakamura dude." I said, "He's got a little Freddie Mercury in him. He's got a little killer wrestler in him. He's got great facials. He's in great shape. He's not too old." And so all of a sudden, then eventually down the road, we see that Shinsuke is a member of the team and does a hell of a job. But Okada just he's an amazing performer. And the nice thing about this deal, Conrad, is that Tony's getting a lot of these talents. Osprey, who's phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. Mercedes Monet and who else was I thinking about?
Osprey, Okada, and Mercedes are the new three. Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, I think we've made a great move with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's good. It's good, and it helps the roster, and it helps to add balance and stuff like that. So it's pretty damn cool. So anyway, I watched a lot of wrestling this week. I can tell you that.
Hey, you mentioned that you were watching a little bit of Vice. I can only assume that you were watching Dark Side of the Ring. Shout out to Evan and Jason, the two fantastic creators of that show. And I know they've been working hard. And so far, I think we've seen John Tenta and Buff Bagwell and Terry Gordy. I really enjoyed hearing from the Gordy kids. I don't know why, but I just find myself pulling for them, both Ray and Miranda. I just find myself pulling for them and their whole family. And what a special performer Terry Gordy was.
Oh,
When you think about, all the great ones, sort of the what could have been. I mean, he's got to be near the top of the list, right? I mean, he still would have had he not had the unfortunate circumstance on the plane that forever changed, and that was broken down in pretty great detail on the show. You got to think he still had several great years ahead of him. No,
I think so
yeah,
because he knew how to work. He
yeah,
knew the psychological part of the application of pro wrestling. Uh, I think, looking back on my 50 years in wrestling, that Terry Gordy was as good and athletic a big man, a heavyweight, because he worked some amazing contests at 300 plus pounds. Uh,
yes,
just an amazing talent. So he was a find. It's hard to believe that he was like 14 or 15 before he got his driver's license. He was wrestling indie shows. So that's how you get better. I mean, I'm not endorsing not getting an education and so forth and so on, but golly, he started out just as a kid, and some of that footage that they had was priceless.
yes,
I just thought that was all, and how he changed his look and how he started filling out and so forth. But he was as good as I ever saw. There's a certain little group of those killer type baby faces. And you name them two or three names. Somebody's going to say, "Well, you left off so and so." This is right off the top of my head, but he was in that league of Hanson and Brody.
wow,
Beat your ass up, and it looked real, and it was real. I just thought it was terrific. So I enjoyed the Gordy one as well. I had like you said, Connie, I had a vested interest in that situation because we worked together for Cowboy. There's a nice little shot there on YouTube. By the way, YouTube's got over 100,000 viewers now. That's great, huh?
hey, congratulations, Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah, check us out if you haven't already. GrillingJR.com is where you can find our YouTube channel. We're
yeah.
going to be going live in the new year whenever there's some big major news. And JR is near a computer, and I am too. So if you haven't already, go hit the subscribe button and be sure to turn on the notifications bell. And while you're there, by the way, with your Google machine out, can we recommend? You heard JR mention in my 50 years in the business, well, he's got a brand new book out. Business is about to pick up. You can pre-order it right now, jrbook50.com. We're home stretching it before it's released. I've had a chance to sort of get a preview copy. I highly recommend it. I think people are going to be talking about this like it's one of the best wrestling books that's ever been written. I told JR when I read his second book a few years ago, this is one of the very best. I mean, it's up there with Mick's very first one. It's up there with Bret Hart's. This is a different style book. It's easy to read in the John. Lots of short stories. Highly recommend it. It is an excellent gift for the wrestling fan in your life and a collectible you want, especially if you're a JR fan, and certainly you are if you're listening to this show. Why not celebrate 50 years of Jim Ross with our pal Paul O'Brien, who's done such a fabulous job on so many of these books?
He's
I
amazing.
guarantee you won't be disappointed. Pre-order right now. Let's show JR some love for 50 years of wrestling, and go right now, jrbook50.com.
That's a lovely idea, Conrad. Thank you very much. Uh, I had a blast working with Paul as usual. He's so smart. He can get inside my head, and I don't know if that's good for him or not. I don't know how the community is there, but he's just really great in how he interprets what I tell him and what we talk about and my 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 dialogue, whatever. He's just good at interpreting what I'm saying and what I feel. So we're excited about it. I'll be doing some signings. We'll have a list of them here coming up. I know I've got one in Jacksonville.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good deal. And I'm going to try to bring books so we can sell some books and we can, sign them and all that good stuff.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and we'll be staying tuned here for more information on where we can see you and get some of those books autographed. But